Hey, how's it going? This is Rhino from Street Tricks Customs. I just wanted to, well, thanks to a request from a member, Alex Cotto, I just wanted to upload a quick video on how to wire your amplifier. You'll see on the table, we've got the stuff, pretty much the basic stuff you're going to need to wire up an amplifier. And I'm just going to go through the steps and show you exactly how you would go about doing this, depending on your system, whether you have a aftermarket radio, whether you have a factory radio, you know, all that kind of stuff. So the first thing you're going to start with is the prime amplifier. Well, the first thing you're going to start with is the amplifier. Now on the amplifier you're going to have your ground, your remote, your battery hookup, and you're going to have your speaker hookups. This is a speaker amp, but we'll just, you know, it'll work for any kind of amp, sub amp, whatever, and you're going to have your RCA inputs. Now, first thing you want to do is you're going to get the correct gauge wire. You're going to want to get the correct gauge wire for your amplifier, depending on how much wattage it does. And you're going to want to hook that from your battery fused. You're going to hook that fused from your battery to your battery wire. So just go right in there. Then you're going to want a good ground. So after you got a location for your battery, you're going to want a good ground. So you're going to get same gauge wire you use for power. You're going to find a good spot in your trunk where you can ground the wire. Now that could be any kind of bare metal that's connected to your frame. You don't want to connect to like seat bolts or anything that's not directly connected to the frame of your car. So, you know, once you find a good spot, you can bolt that in and connect that right to your ground. And now, next thing, alright, so now that you got your power and your ground wires hooked up, you're going to need a remote wire and you're going to need your RCA wires. Now there's a few ways to get that. One would be using an aftermarket radio. If you got an aftermarket radio like this one already hooked up, then in the back you're already going to have your RCA hookups and you're already going to have a remote wire from the main harness to go to your amp. So you're pretty much done. So for people like me and my Fusion, if you don't have an aftermarket radio because you wanted to keep your factory setup, you have a couple ways of going about getting RCA signal wires. Two of which are your powered and unpowered line-out converters. Now we'll go over the powered line-out converters first. They're going to need, on your powered line-out converter, you're going to have a power hookup, 12-volt source, a ground, and a remote out, and you're also going to have your speaker hookups. Now, in order for these to work, you're going to need to power them and ground them, just like your amplifier. And now they give you a remote out source. The remote out wire will plug in to the remote wire in your amp. So whenever this line-out converter gets a signal, it tells your amp to turn on. So that solves the remote wire problem. Then these wires, the speaker wires, are going to go right to, let's say this is your right rear speaker in your car. You're just going to splice into the positive and negative hookups with these wires, and that'll get your signal. That'll pull the signal from the speaker and send it to your sub-amp. Now, a powered line-out converter like this one does make it easier because it supplies you with the remote wire you're going to be using. But now they also have unpowered line-out converters, which are just the speaker hookups and your RCA outs. So they're going to hook up the same way, but they don't need power. So they'll hook up to your speakers, and you'll have your RCA outs to go to your amplifier. Alright, so if you're using this kind of setup, you're going to have your signal wire and RCA's done, but you don't have a remote wire. This will get you the signal you need for your subs to work, but you're not going to have a remote wire with an unpowered line-out converter. So you're going to have to run a separate wire from any kind of switch source in your car. You've got your cigarette lighter. If that turns off when your car turns off, you're good. You're going to have to use a multimeter. Go around, you're going to have to find a circuit that turns off when your car turns off. You would splice into that, and then you would run it to the remote on your amp. You can also run a wire right from your battery with a switch if you want to manually turn your car on and off. But, you know, most people don't want to do that. They want to know their system's off when their car's off. So you're just looking for a switched wire. You'll hook it into here, and then that'll pretty much be done. I mean, then you got your speaker outs. You just take speaker wire, and that's going to go from there to your speakers, your sub, whatever the amp is powering. I mean, if you want to see any more videos like this, message me in the comments, let me know, explaining exactly how to tune them, you know, anything you guys want to know.
Like, comment, and share.
Woo! Like he said. Don't forget to subscribe.